If you enjoy listening to this podcast and would like to rep our brand, please visit www.customizedgirl.com/s/on-the-block and bed-stuy to purchase on-the-block apparel and accessories. On this week's episode, we'll be discussing our views on religion versus spirituality and how one can feel restrictive while the other can feel free. We'll also speak on the controversy that surrounds belief systems, the disadvantages it can have over people, and the negative outcomes it can cause when those beliefs are challenged. So pull up and let's get this conversation started. We always hear the phrase, don't speak about politics or religion, especially when you're in the company of people who may share different views on the matter, because it can almost always end in an argument. And to be honest, no one on either side of the debate will ever change the other's mind on their feelings and beliefs. So what's the point, right? Well, the point is to hear others' perspective and to gain somewhat of an understanding on why the person holds these beliefs. And if everyone doesn't walk away with some kind of understanding on the perspective, we can at least all agree to disagree. Now, when it comes to religion, I'm not religious and I question a lot of the things I was brought up to believe about religion. I do believe in spirituality though, because I believe we all share a spiritual connection with each other and the universe in ways that are unexplainable to us because we don't have the full true knowledge of our origins and why we're here. Whereas religion forces you to believe what you're told in the Bible and not question it because it's wrong to question God, which to me sounds ridiculous because our brains are designed to ask questions and receive answers in order to understand what we're being told. To me, religion is restrictive, judgmental, and almost cult-like, but spirituality, on the other hand, raises your consciousness and allows you to freely think for yourself, to go out and try to seek answers on what it all means to exist. You get to be yourself, enjoy life, live the way you choose, and not have to have the threat of hell hovering over your head for every little imperfection you may have. Because no human being is perfect, especially those who practice religion. Joseph?
Yeah. Okay, so
we all know you got a lot to say about religion.
Go in on religion. Yeah. So I want to put out a disclaimer before I even start talking because I know like just people I know that's religious or whatever. So like if you're like really into religion, man, this is probably not the podcast for you.
Yeah.
Because you might get offended and you might feel differently about me or something afterwards. But so basically like my thoughts on religion and just spirituality in general, because I feel like spirituality is the overall aspect that religion is under. Like religion is under the umbrella of spirituality, you know what I'm saying? But religion is a human construct though, you know what I'm saying? But like so like man, I don't even know where to go. So basically my spirituality is constantly evolving because I'm always researching, I'm always looking into like ancient artifact documentaries and things like that. So like I try to go back as far as possible when it comes to like spirituality, you know what I'm saying? And like right now with Catholicism, Judaism, and Islam, there's so many different traditions and like spiritual journeys that people take that they've been following for like way before any of these religions were around. So I try to like stick with the ancient, more, I guess you would say, I'm trying to think of the word. I can't think of it right now. But
what you mean?
So like I tend to lean more with the I guess you would say like paganistic ritual type things or whatever, but like because it's older, you know what I'm saying? Just like a lot of the Native Americans and a lot of if you go to any country in the world, any any place on the planet, the indigenous people, they had certain beliefs and traditions that they followed. And like a lot of the times they were all similar in certain aspects when it came to the traditions and the rituals that they followed. And they basically just respected nature and they had a better understanding of energy properties.
Yeah, they was like they used to like believe in like being one with the earth, and like I don't know, they looked at land and things like that. They didn't look at it as something that they owned.
Right, it's just part
the
of
Native
it.
Americans. Yeah.
Right, you're living amongst nature. You're living alongside nature. You're not living on top of it or controlling it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's not for us to control. It's just for us to live and to use what the earth provides. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. So like religion, just religion, and like just. I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna stick to the topics because I could start going.
You could basically talk about. I mean, you could talk about. You can if you have your view on religion.
Yeah. So like
that you don't agree with, you could speak on that.
All right. So like that whole concept of like sin, and this might get people upset or whatever, but like that whole concept of sin is completely man-made. You know what I'm saying? Like it's totally man-made. These are not words that came from God or supposedly, who God may be. Those didn't come from him. You know what I'm saying? Like that's something that was man-made to use to control people. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to remember, particularly like back in like the Middle Ages when the Roman Catholic Church was like gaining power, and they continuously held power ever since then. They were using that concept of burning because people are petrified of burning. You know what I'm saying? Like burning alive is like the worst way to die.
Right? Because how was a soul gonna burn?
Right.
I thought only flesh burns. Like I didn't know.
Yeah. So it was a fear tactic to keep people under control. You know what I'm saying? Because if you could like think about it, like when you were a kid, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of us grew up in semi-religious families. You know, I grew up in a Roman Catholic household. And that concept of sin was always in my mind ever since I can remember. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times I think that did control my behavior. Now
because you're always worrying about if you lie or if you steal or if you do anything. Sure, if you have bad thoughts, like if you thinking about sex, which is normal when you're going through puberty, it's like that's a sin and you're gonna go to hell. And, it's always this constant fear tactic. Growing up about like heaven, hell, God, Satan.
Right.
If you're having these thoughts, that's Satan. It's like, no, that's just my brain thinking that. Like, it's not Satan.
Right. That's us having the ability to like make decisions for ourselves and to understand and evaluate things. That's the only way we invent. That's the only way like we invent things is when you decide to go outside of that box of control. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're never gonna create anything from your own person unless you get out of that box of control. You know what I'm saying? It's like they always say, like, they say like a lot of times in religion, especially in Catholicism, they say like Jesus was a shepherd, right, of the people, and that's so like that whole concept is like so revealing. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you really want to be like shepherded by somebody? Like, I know I don't want to be part of the sheep, part of the flock. Because if you're part of the flock, that means you don't got a mind of your own. You're like working in unison with a group of other people that you're not even, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no individuality in that.
And that's why I feel like religion is like cult life, because y'all have to all move the same way. Like, you can't step out of the belief system of everybody else, because then you're looked at as, I don't know, Satan, or that's Satan in your mind and all this stuff.
Yeah, so it's all based on like everything is cults. It's just like, what's the age of the cult? Like, how long the cult been around? You know what I'm saying? And like, a lot of times people, when they think about cults, they think about something that is new. You know what I'm saying? Like something that just came out that's like eccentric or different or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But like, when you really think about it, every religion started off as a cult. Like every religion, like anything you could think of, it started off as a cult. You know what I mean? It was a group of people that believed it. They went around and spread the word and gathered more people, and then it just basically took off like wildfire. You know what I'm saying? Like, word of mouth travels. So like, then you combine that with control over people and control over governments, because the Roman Catholic Church had control over the entire governments. You know what I'm saying? So like, they would go around the world and they would call it they would call it like missionaries, you know what I'm saying? But they were going around the world basically converting everybody. And back then, if you didn't convert, they made you convert by force. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you didn't convert, they would kill you. They would kill children. They would burn people alive. They would do crazy things.
Yeah, and this is the part where I'm like, the religion thing is like entangled with ugly things like that. Like, how you saying that you're loving and you're God-fearing and you're all this stuff, but then you're doing heinous things. I just don't, you know what I mean? Like, I thought God was love, I thought God was forgiving, and I thought all of that, but then you're doing the opposite of what you're claiming you're about. It don't make no sense. And it always seemed like a lot of times the most religious people are the most evil. Like, they do evil things, and they like, you're religious, you go to church every Sunday, like, they have the darkest hearts, a lot of them. Not all of them. I'm pretty sure you have some people that they religious and they do good stuff and be and are good people. But the ones that I've come across, like, they become very judgmental. You know, they look at their nose down on you when you coming into church and you're not dressed nice. It's like, why do I need to be in my best dress suit to come in here and worship? Like, why I can't just come in here with jeans and a shirt?
Yeah, they use religion as a cover too. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people know that religion is based on belief, and belief is like, there's no logic when it comes to belief. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I could say anything I want. There's gonna be somebody in the world that believes what I just said. You know what I'm saying? Like, no matter how crazy that shit sounds. Like, I could say something mad crazy, like that we're gonna get invaded by aliens tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? And like, there's gonna be somebody on Earth that's gonna believe that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like. And that's the thing, like, when you project something that's convincing and makes sense, people believe it. You know what I'm saying? And like, once you start having a big group of people believing something, and everybody starts operating as you're the shepherd and we're the sheep, that's a cult. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's basically a cult. You know what I'm saying? And like, every religion started that way. And like, you know, just like going back, and it's like so many different, like, there's so many different parts of the history of religion that's so bad. You know what I'm saying? And like, I look at it, I'm like, yo, how could you follow something that, like, how could you follow a group of people or a belief that kept you in control for like hundreds of years? You know what I'm saying? Like, the Catholic religion in particular, man, like, they're responsible for like so many deaths. Like, people sit there and think about like Islam, like radical Islam and terrorists and all that other shit, which, don't get me wrong, they just as evil as the rest of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody got, you know, every religion got their fanatics, but like, so many people die because of religion. Like, religion is the reason why more people probably died in history than anything else on earth. Like, than all the wars. You know what I'm saying? Like, more people die because of religious conflicts, bro. You know what I'm saying? People are still dying right now. Like,
I honestly feel like religion and politics is going to be the downfall of mankind. Honestly, like. Because everybody, I don't know, I feel like because everybody gonna always have, it's always gonna be two sides of that. It's gonna be the one side that believe the stuff and they sticking with their beliefs, and then you got the other side and they gonna believe what they believe about it, and they sticking to their beliefs. And that's why I was trying to say, like, when you having a conversation with people that's on the opposite belief system from you, there's never gonna be an agreement, because you're gonna believe what you're gonna believe. I don't care what I say, I don't care what points I put out there. Shit, a alien force could come down from the heavens right now and be like, listen, everything that y'all was taught was a lie, this is not real, this is real. And they're gonna give you the truth about your existence, why you're here and everything else. And I still feel like it's gonna be people that's so religious and believe in that so deeply that they're gonna think that that's Satan. They're gonna say that, because you have people that feel like aliens and stuff, and like, you know, all of that stuff is Satan. It's like, why everything is weird. It's like, it's almost like, because you don't understand it, it's Satan. Because we was taught that it's just us.
It's all the same thing. That's what people need to realize. It's all the same thing, man. Like, when you go back and looking through religious texts and books and stuff like that, first of all, they all have similar stories. I don't care what part of the world they came from. They all have similar stories. They all talk about the same things. Now, of course, over time, like, books been edited, changed, and like things been switched around to like keep people under control or whatever. But like,
and that's the reason why I don't understand why right now in 2022, with all the technology we have and stuff and the information that's available to us, I don't understand why people, like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with being religious. Like, I feel like if that's what makes you feel like you're a better person, if that makes you do better in life, if it makes you feel better about yourself, then there's nothing wrong with it. It's not harming anybody. But for the ones that do use religion for sinister reasons, you know what I mean? Like, that's evil and it's fucked up. Like,
those are the true evil people to me. Yeah, a person that profits from religion is the worst of the worst to me, because you're using people's belief to take advantage of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like, to me, that's the worst person.
You're using the religion's belief to cause harm on other people.
Exactly. That's,
you know what I mean?
Very,
like,
very bad. Very bad. You know what I'm saying?
Or like you said, if you're profiting, or if you're making money, like them evangelicals, y'all have big mansions, all this stuff, and jets, and all this crazy stuff. Like,
y'all mega churches, the mega churches,
Yes, y'all have all this wealth, and people are like giving all their money to y'all, and like, y'all just evil. Like, I could look at the mega churches, or some of them that have TV programs. They just don't look like they believe in anything they're saying. They just saying it because it's money, is making money, and people want to believe in something. And
for anybody out there that's listening, like if you one of those type of people that watch for like watch mass on church, like you don't actually go to church, like you watch it on TV, or you like subscribe to one of the mega churches or whatever, just go on YouTube and just put in mega churches and money in the same line, dude. Like, and just watch one documentary. I mean, it's like hundreds of them, but like, watch one documentary on like how mega churches like robbing everybody. I guarantee it'll sway you a little bit, because like, you know, all that like paying tithes and all that stuff, that's all a hustle, man. Like, that's a hustle that's as old as prostitution, man. Like, prostitution been around right alongside religion, man. Like, they were both together the whole time. Like, that's one of the oldest hustles in the world, man, is religion and like making people pay tithes. It's like, it's insane. Like, when you really look at it and you know what's going on, man, like, you gotta think sometimes, you know? Like,
yes, you need to use your brain that you got and that you have in your head, and you need to think like us, critical thinking. Like, I mean, understand a lot of us was raised on the Bible and to believe certain things that was in it. But as you grow older and you need to start questioning things that's being told to you. Like,
you don't need to be.
You need to investigate the information that you're receiving. Like, you can't just blindly be like, all right, well, this is what it is. No, you need to start looking deeper, because look at the people that even wrote this Bible. Look at the people that translated what was said. Like, is it even really the truth that they translated into the Bible? And remember, all of this stuff that happened, all these stories that was told, it didn't come firsthand from Jesus. It didn't come firsthand from the people that was experiencing it. You had like third parties telling a story about what they heard. That's like some hearsay, like some gossip. That's like the Inquirer or something. Like, you're going off of hearsay, and you're like making this a religion to where people really think this is the true word. And and I just feel like anything that human beings touch, it can be tainted, because human beings can, if it's in their best interest and it's gonna work for them, they're gonna twist things around, and they're gonna do things to benefit them. So I feel like just off of that alone, people should be more mindful about what they're being told. And I'm not saying that, like I said, I'm not saying that if you are religious and you do have that belief system and it's working for you and it's making you feel good about yourself and it's helping you to be a better person, if it's helping you, like if you ever had a drug addiction and you decided to join a church and that's making you a better person and making you not want to, it's helping you to not want to go back into that situation, and it's benefiting you in a positive way, then I don't think there's anything wrong with somebody having the belief. But like I said, if it's about personal gain, or to hurt others, or to profit off of,
then you already failing.
Yes, like,
you know what I'm saying? Because like that's the thing, and a lot of people use religion for that purpose, thinking, if I'm part of a church and I give my tithes, I'm gonna experience wealth and I'm gonna experience, like, first of all, if you getting into anything religious with the idea of wealth and prosperity at the end of it, you're already done. Like, you're already traveling down the path of you're traveling in the wrong direction. You know what I'm saying? You should never equate religion or spiritual belief with profit, with money, you know what I'm saying, with abundance, like that you should never think that the amount of religious dedication you put into something is going to reward you with abundance, because that's like the worst concept that I ever like heard of. You know what I'm saying? Like when somebody's truly religious and truly spiritual, first of all, you don't even need to be part of a church. You know what I'm saying? Like you could be religious by yourself. You could be a religious person and practice ceremonial religious ceremonies in your house by yourself. You don't have to be part of a church. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the first the whole misnomer. You know what I'm saying? It's like people keep thinking, oh, I need to be part of a church. I need to give tithes. I need to be sitting and watching a man preach about something that I already know about. Like you don't have to do any of that to be an effective religious person. You know what I'm saying? But like still, you know, going back, there's nothing wrong. Like if being religious gives you the strength you need to move on and to push on, then, you know, by all means continue on. You know what I'm saying? But like if it makes you a better person, by all means continue on. But like I feel like a lot of people are
it don't make them a better person.
No, they're religious for the wrong reasons.
Yes, I feel like a lot of I'm not even gonna say a lot because I don't know everybody in the world, but I feel like there's some people that I see that they're claiming that they're religious and they all about God, but they not. They spirit and they whole vibe is not. It's like kind of like some darkness going on over there. Like
right.
I'm like you religious? Like wow.
Yeah, their vibe is off. It's off. You know what I'm saying?
So basically, they have this mindset where if you're not doing exactly what they're doing, then you're gonna go to hell. Who are you to tell somebody that if they're gay, they're gonna go to hell? Who are you to tell somebody that if they're a prostitute, they're gonna go to hell? Who are you to tell somebody anything? Who are we to have the death penalty? Who are we to take a life? Like who are we to do that?
Man, we all going to hell. If you want to go back to the most basic of religious principles, and you want to go back to the orthodox belief system, then we all going to hell. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just straight up. Like we all sinned well before we even understood what sinning was. So like it's just when you start to give it thought, you know what I'm saying? You start thinking like, wait a minute, this is a little bit silly. You know what I mean? Like it's like certain concepts that just like don't make sense. You know what I'm saying?
Like they was even saying like you have people that believe that like if your child is not baptized, they're gonna go to hell.
Yeah, that's crazy.
A baby. So I'm like, all right, so if you gave birth and you had a baby and the baby was alive for maybe you didn't get a chance to christen the baby. The baby would die from crib death, SIDS or whatever. Like baby's like 2 months old. You telling this person their baby's gonna go to hell because you wasn't able to get them to the church to christen them and wash them of their sins.
We could expand. I mean, we could expand on that even more. Well, they try to
say we're all born in sin, so that's why you're supposed to get it done to wash away sin. But I'm like,
yeah, but then think about it this way. Let's say you don't christen your child, grows up, and they become one of the most, you know, just one of the most, I guess you could say, like honest people in the world. You know, helping people and doing good, and helping the poor and things like that. Then you're gonna tell me that person was condemned to hell because they didn't get christened when they were 2 years old? Like, it's just that don't make no sense. It makes no sense. And those are just one of many things that when you start to break religion down and you start to look at the traditions and the culture of religion, like it's like it doesn't make any sense. And then if you want to, and I could even dig deeper. Like a lot of people like in the Catholic religion or Christianity in general, you know what I'm saying? A lot of the ceremonial things that they practice, like in mass, you know what I'm saying? Like when you're in mass, when you're at church, a lot of the practices are pagan. Like a lot of all the candles that you see in a church, when you go into church, all those candles that are lit, that's all pagan tradition. The altar, pagan. The robes that priests wear, that's pagan. Like all that stuff is from pagan belief systems. The same people that they were like prosecuting hundreds of years ago, the same people that were burning for saying they were witches or practicing witchcraft, they're doing the same things, like the same traditional ceremonies. They're practicing the same. Like so, it's when you really start to look at things, you start to see the hypocrisy in it all. You know what I'm saying? It's like you were killing people for basically practicing on their own and making their own spiritual journey, because that's basically what, you know, aka witchcraft or ancient traditions or you know, like nomadic tradition, all that falls under the same kind of umbrella, you know what I'm saying? But like, they look at that as evil, but it's crazy because a lot of the traditions you've gathered, you've taken from that same belief. So it's like, when you start to think about that, you start realizing, wait a minute, that don't add up. That doesn't make any sense. Wait a minute. So then you start looking more, and then you start realizing really how much things don't make any sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like, it just doesn't make sense, man. Like,
that's why I said all the technology, and we in 2022, I feel like centuries ago, maybe people wouldn't have thought for themselves that much, and they just believe whatever. But I'm like, we have too much information to gather. We have too many things that we can look at and study for us to really like evaluate what's in the Bible, what, you know, things that don't really add up.
Right.
You know, it's just not saying you gotta condemn and say there is no God. You don't gotta say that. You could say, I believe there is a higher being out there. You know, right. It might not be the same, the storybook way the Bible says it. You know, it might not be, we might have not been created from Adam and Eve and all that stuff. But
yeah, I think a lot of those stories were like simplified versions of what really happened or whatever.
Right.
Like, there's a lot of truth in the Bible. There's a lot of truth in the Quran. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of truth in the Torah. I mean, any religious book you look into, there's a lot of truth in it. You know what I'm saying? But there's also a lot of fairy tale and a lot of like, you know, accounts that can't be verified either. You know what I'm saying? But like, and you know, and like, just like to get a little bit more specific, like the ancient astronaut theory, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are familiar with that. You know, I kind of subscribe to that a little bit myself, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like, you know, a lot of the references in a lot of these religious books, I mean, specifically kind of like tell you what they're talking about, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you just take the literal translation or something, it tells you exactly what's going on. And that's like that's where a lot of the error comes in when it comes to religion, is the mistranslation of books. So like, a lot of times when you read in the Bible right now, the half of the book is not even translated properly. So like, when you're reading certain things, and you like, when they say God, the original translation from the original text was plural. It was always gods. It was never one God. It was always God, them, they. Anytime you go to the original text, man, from the original Abrahamic text that was written on walls and written on stone tablets, always talks about gods in the plural. You know what I'm saying? It was like, there was many of them. There was different. There was multiples of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a group of them. It wasn't one. It was a group of beings that, for whatever reason, had power over us. Whether it was through technology, whether it was through their physical ability or their mental ability, they had something over us. You know what I'm saying? And like, you know, just the more you do research and the more you look into the earth history on this planet, and the more you start digging, you start seeing, you know what I'm saying? Like, you start really realizing what was going on, man. And it's messed up because we're like a species with amnesia. We don't even know our own history. We don't know where we came from. We don't know how we were brought here. We don't know how we were created. You know what I'm saying? There's only theories, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of theories out there. So, you know, I mean,
we kind of just here. You just born here,
you know, I'm gonna stick to what I know, and I'm gonna have ideas of what I suspect to be true. But at the end of the day, I can never say that I'm a whole 100% devout believer in anything, because I have to know what's going on. I have to ask questions. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's the reason why I geared more towards spirituality.
Right.
That's my thing. Like, because it's not putting you in this box.
Exactly.
You have to be like, oh, I'm Baptist. I'm what's the other one?
Evangelical.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's like, you know, you in this box, and you gotta have this belief system, and that's it. And you can't like think outside that box. Yeah. That's what I don't like about religion. It's too restrictive.
Right. That's like putting a grown man on a bike with training wheels.
Yeah,
you know,
like, I feel like I want to know more. I feel like, for me, what I like about myself when it comes to this whole thing is my mind is open to things. People that's religious, they're not open to nothing. They're just like, believe that one thing. They believe that it's just us. They don't believe that there's other life. They don't believe that maybe God even created other life in other galaxies. They don't believe nothing. Like, you're so closed off. Like, you're not willing to expand your beliefs, to explore truth. You kind of just want to be in this box of, well, this is what I was raised and this is what I was taught. That's what I don't like about religion. It's just too restrictive. It's too, you're not, like, I want to be able to have my mind open to anything and everything, and like look at it and explore it and study it and make a determination on my own whether I believe it or not.
Right.
Without feeling like I'm doing something sinful. That's like somebody
giving you a big 400-page textbook, right? And they're like, yo, you can only read chapter 1. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's dead ass. That's what it is. That's what religion is to me, man. Like, every different religion is like a different chapter of that book. So like Buddhism or like Catholicism or whatever, it's like you're putting yourself in this box of control. You know what I mean? It's like you're only getting to read the second chapter of the book. You got to read the whole book, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to really read the whole book. And when you do that, 9 times out of 10, you're going to change. Like, your mind is going to change. Your ideas are going to change. Your thoughts on the world are going to change. Because you can't fight knowledge. Like, once you gain knowledge, you can never forget it. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's the thing. I feel like people should just go out and just do the research, man. Because there's so much access to so much information now, man, that if you subscribe to like a particular denomination of a religion, you are heavily limiting yourself. You know what I'm saying? They're like heavily limiting.
And to me, I feel like, the thing too is like, when you have those beliefs and you in that box, if something does come out that's not in your belief system, how you gonna respond to that? Like, what if you find out that there is no heaven, there is no hell, there is no, you're gonna go and be with your loved ones? What if you find out that there's none of that? Like, what if you just find out like you're gonna live this life and you're gonna die? Either there's nothing after, or you're gonna is it ascend when you go out? Ascend?
Yeah, I don't know. It's
ascend, because I want to make sure I'm saying the right word. you go into the next realm of existence.
Oh, ascend. Yeah.
Yes, ascend. Right. So what if you find out when you die, you ascend and go off into the next realm of existence? You know what I mean? Like,
at that point,
you know what I mean? Like, wouldn't you want to know if when you die, you're gonna come back as a bird? You're gonna come back as a damn cow. You know why you don't want to know that? Because now you have to have empathy for that cow you eating right now. Because remember, you do have religions that believe in reincarnation.
Right.
So some people believe that.
Total reincarnation. Where you can reincarnate to anything that's in the world. That's a lot.
Yes. So you're not supposed to kill anything. You're not supposed to kill a roach. You're not supposed to kill a mouse. You're not supposed to kill a bee. Because you can end up reincarnating as that.
Yeah, that's why.
Because it's life.
The Buddhist monks, Buddhist monks don't kill anything.
Yes. So what's making your religion better than theirs? What's making your belief better than theirs?
And that goes back to different chapters of the same book. That's, Buddhists, they on chapter 7. You got Christians, they on chapter 3. You got Hebrews, they on chapter 1. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's practicing a different aspect of the same thing that was controlling us in the beginning of humankind. You know what I'm saying? Whatever brought us here, or whatever created us and changed us, because we were changed. At some point in history, human beings were like upgraded. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
And I remember
mentally upgraded.
I remember when I was young, and like, when I used to like hear about like chariots and you see in the Bible and the pictures and stuff, and you see like things in the sky on a carpet, and they look like they're in a vehicle.
Oh yeah, there's pictures everywhere. It's ancient
and I used to
everywhere.
always, when I was young, I used to always think to myself, why we don't see that now? I used to always think that. I used to be like, well, why people back then was seeing things in the sky and seeing things fighting in the sky, and this one is over here fighting this one, and why we don't see this now? I used to always question, like, why were people back then able to speak with God and we don't, nobody, like, they used to make it look like it was a physical The way they used to have physical interaction, like you used to hear the voice of God talking to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I used to always think, like, well, wow, we don't hear the voice of God now. Like,
not
where did they go? What happened? You know, I used to always
for whatever reason that we don't even know yet, understand, they left or they're not here no more. So we don't know why that is, but yeah, it was very, very literal.
It seemed like it was a lot of interaction,
literal.
like with the angels.
Yes, everything is very literal. Like a lot of people, they keep thinking it's fairy tale, like, and you know what? Maybe it is kind of fairy tale because instead of saying aliens, they said angels. So instead of them saying, alien life or whatever, or maybe back then they didn't know that was an alien. They just looked at it. Right. It's all about it's all in the translation. Everything is in the translation. The words that they use is all in the translation. Sometimes things was translated inaccurate. Sometimes the words that you keep hearing in religion, not even the word you're supposed to be hearing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of inaccuracies in the Bible. There's a lot of inaccuracies in all of these books, you know what I'm saying, where it was like translated wrong. And like that's a big thing, especially in Christianity. Christianity is like one of the number one like religions that has been edited so much, you know what I'm saying? It has been mistranslated so much that it's hard to even really know what you're listening to. You know what I mean? Like, are you listening to real true stuff, or are you listening to something that's like off a little bit? You know what I'm saying? So like, that's a lot of things that I always just tell people to, keep in mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be completely blind, man. It's never good to be blind. You know what I'm saying? You gotta always have one eye open. You know what I'm saying? Like, and there's nothing wrong with believing in a particular religion. Just don't be blind. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like keep your mind open to things, because I mean, when something happens that's outside of your spectrum of religious belief, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna have a fucking mental breakdown because you can't handle what you just saw because it doesn't fall into your category of what belief means? Like, you have to keep your mind open, man, because I feel like we living in a time where like a lot of things are probably gonna happen in the near future. I don't know what exactly is gonna happen, man, but like I be feeling it. Like, we are in a different time, man. You know what I'm saying? And like, there's gonna be some people out there that they're not gonna be able to handle that shit. You know what I mean? They're not gonna be able to handle learning something about our history that we never knew about. You know what I'm saying? Like, and when the day that comes and that revelation is brought to us, there's gonna be a lot of people that's gonna have a mental breakdown, man, because they're not gonna be able to handle the truth, because it's gonna go against everything they ever been taught and believed. You know what I'm saying? And like, for me, if something like that was to happen, would I be afraid? Probably, like most people. But I'm still gonna be open to the idea that is what I'm looking at is reality. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you see is what's real. What you don't see is what you believe. What you feel is true that you've never seen, that's belief. What you see in your face is reality, man. You know what I'm saying? And even sometimes what you see in your face ain't reality. They're saying that this color, this light in the color spectrum that we're not even able to see with our eyes. So there's things that's going on in this world right in front of us right now that we can't even see.
Right.
But a cat can see. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's literally a whole third of the spectrum of light that we can't even see with our eyes. So like, people need to understand, man, like, there's a lot going on right now, physical, scientific stuff that's going on that we don't even know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? We don't even understand nothing yet. We're like still very primitive, even though we have all this technology that I believe we didn't create ourselves.
And I feel like a lot, and I'm wondering if that was a good thing for us to even have our hands on the technology, because clearly we're not using it wisely, and we're not,
definitely not.
It's working against us in a lot of ways, having the technology and, like the internet and social media and all that stuff. Like, yeah,
it's like we're using it the wrong way. It's like, it's almost like you're using a spoon to dig dirt instead of using a spoon to eat food. It's like, you could dig dirt better if you get a shovel, you know what I'm saying? But we don't have the shovel, so we're using a spoon. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I feel like that's kind of like what we're doing. It's like we're using like 10% of our potential. We're not even like using a good percentage of the potential that we have. You know what I'm saying? But what can I say, man? You can't make everybody happy, man. There's gonna be some people offended on after this, but hey, look, listen.
I mean, like I said, that's why I said when I started it off, I said, when it's supposed to, you may not agree, y'all can agree to disagree, but to understand everybody's perspective on something. So with us talking about this is our perspective on religion and spirituality, how we feel, and somebody could listen to it and they could be religious and listen to it and agree with and may not agree with what we're saying, but they can still I guess try to understand why we feel like this, and then they can still just go on and have they belief and do them. But my message is basically just like to just use your own mind and to just freely think and like just like evaluate things that's being told to you, and just like look, I just lost my train of thought real quick.
Well, look,
use it. Whatever the information that's given to you, just
use critical thinking. You know what I'm saying? Examine everything, question everything. There's never anything wrong with questioning stuff. Even though
it's not evil and it's not Satan.
Your pastor might tell you it's wrong. Ain't nothing wrong. Yeah, it's nothing wrong with questioning reality.
That's not Lucifer in your head. That's you.
Yeah, that's your brain. That's your intelligent brain that you were gifted with. You know what I'm saying? That we were given something different than most of the creatures on this planet. And at the end of the day,
I always feel like if God wanted us to be mindless robots, he wouldn't have gave us brains. He would have just made some mindless people to do whatever he said. Right. So we have the ability to think for ourselves. We have the ability to make choices. So we're not forced to do anything. So it's kind of like, if that's what God was intending, he could have just created something that didn't have a brain and that is just going to just do what he wants it to do.
Right. Yeah, so you
gotta think of it like that. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Don't
try to process the information, like how you said, examine it. You know what I mean? See if it makes sense to you. If it feel right for you, then you'll move forward with that. If you feel like you got questions, because I feel like I don't know, but I would think that even people that's religious, every now and then you don't ever think well, that don't make sense. You never question nothing. Especially when you become an adult, like when you get older. I can see when you're a kid, you don't question things, but like as you start to grow, you don't have no questions about anything. You just kind of just like blindly just following it and saying, all right, well, that's what it is. I mean, I don't know.
I think people like that, people that are deep into religion, they push that stuff away. You know what I'm saying? Like they probably be having questions, but they push it to the back. They say,
because remember, they're taught that that's Satan.
That's sin.
Trying to sow doubt in your mind. So this is the thing. It's like, if I'm trying to control the masses, and I know that your brain is going to probably have doubt, I got to go and say, oh, well, if that's doubt, that's the Satan trying to get in your head.
Yeah, once you get into somebody's head. Once you get into somebody's head, man, like, once you get a great group of people to believe the same thing, man, that gives you a lot of power and control, man. And like, people need to understand human beings and human nature. And like, when you give a particular person power, a particular group of people power, they take mad advantage of that shit. You know
what we was reading about, when we was looking at about the evangelicals, and how that dude was speaking at that hearing and saying that they basically was taking the Supreme Court justices to dinner, and they was basically they basically cut a deal with the devil, and was telling the judges, like, if you can get rid of Roe from Roe v. Wade, then they were basically like, well, if we do that, whatever the Republicans do, whether it's against your belief systems or whatever, you gotta just go with it. You gotta flow with it. You can't oppose what we're doing, even if it's ugly. And I'm like, but y'all supposed to be religious. You're supposed to do what's right.
Right, you can't compromise. You ain't supposed to be able to. You ain't supposed to be compromising your beliefs for politics.
Now hold on. Now y'all might have felt so strongly about the whole abortion thing that y'all feel like y'all doing good for people, but you're really not. You're doing harm, because all the other heinous things that's being done towards people, y'all not speaking against it, or because y'all wanted to get rid of Roe, y'all want to get rid of abortions. So now, because of that, y'all done made a deal with the devil. And now y'all gotta go along with whatever these Republicans do, no matter how ugly it is.
Right, no matter how much of a sinner or how much of an evil person this person is, you gotta agree with their policy or agree with what they say. That's crazy. That's you already sold your soul. Right. To me, like if you want to be like poetic about it,
Right.
you already sold your soul, man. You know what I'm saying? Like the minute you decided as a religious leader to compromise your belief to achieve a certain agenda, a bigger agenda, you already sold your soul. So like that's crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? How could you follow somebody or a group of people that are willing to sell their souls just to gain one step in a direction that they want to go in? You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, y'all are you're projecting your beliefs onto people that want nothing to do with that. That's another thing that's wrong. It's like you can't project your beliefs onto everybody. Like 80% of this country doesn't agree with you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's an overwhelming number. Like overwhelming. Like it's like, dude, nobody is cool with this 1600s way of living. Like we're done. We're past that. We left that back in the 1600s and it needs to stay back there. You know what I'm saying? Like people evolve, the world evolves, things change. You know what I'm saying? And
and that's the problem. Like y'all want to control everything because of your belief. And that's why I'm saying again, I feel like some people are using religion for sinister reasons, because like I just said earlier, if you want to be religious and that's what makes you feel good about life and that's making you a better person, more power to you. But when it comes to the other side, y'all want to keep pushing off what y'all don't believe and what you don't feel is right off on everyone. And at the end of the day, y'all not God. Like none of you. Nope. Like even if you're religious and you practice religion and you go to church and you doing all that stuff, you still don't get to control what everybody else is doing. You just don't get to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like you're trying to force your feeling and belief on everyone. Because y'all basically trying to make everybody, and like I just said, I feel like religion is a cult. So you're trying to make me a part of something that I don't want to be a part of. That should be a choice if I want to go that route. Or if I want to go the other route, just like for them, they have the choice to be religious. They have the choice to practice their religion, and we should have the choice to believe what we believe, and that's how it should be. It shouldn't be, oh, well, you need to do things the way I feel. You need to do things the way I think is right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's why I give credit when credit's due. And like, there's a lot of things that I don't agree with when it comes to like the founding fathers of this country or whatever. But like, one thing I can say that they did really good is separating religion from the state or religion from government, like keeping the two things separate. That was the best idea they ever came up with. You know what I'm saying? But like, I don't know. They've been trying really hard to combine the two for the last couple hundred years or so. But I mean, so far it hasn't worked. You know what I mean? But like, that to me was the best concept ever, was to like keep religion out of politics, man, because they should never coincide with each other. You know what I'm saying? Because politics is about people. You know what I'm saying? Politics is about population.
I almost feel like it's doing it anyway. It's kind of like storing a collide as one anyway. It's doing it even though they tried hard to keep it separate, but is it? Because the fact that y'all was able to overturn a 50-year-old precedent, y'all was able to overturn that off of a religion agenda.
Oh yeah, I mean, they definitely gaining track. They're gaining
agenda.
Right, they're gaining political power. That's for sure.
Yeah, so it's kind of seeping already into politics.
But that's where the government, that's where the democracy either gonna fail or it's gonna succeed. Is this government gonna be able to stop that meshing of religion and government, or is it gonna allow it to continue on and get worse? You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be a test of democracy. Just like our democracy goes through tests all the time. Just like January 6th was a test of our democracy. You know what I'm saying? Like, is our democracy going to survive the continued battering of religion on politics? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it going to be able to survive that? All we could do is wait and see, you know what I'm saying? Just make sure that we vote for the right people and make sure that we do things to like ensure that this government doesn't get taken over by religious zealots, you know what I'm saying? Because people like that are not going to make it good for everybody else, you know what I'm saying? Like, just look at who runs these organizations and just look at the things that they do in order to advance their organization and advance their power and advance their financial standing.
And look at the things that they've done in the name of religion a long time ago.
Yeah, it's like, come on, wake up, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
like, it wasn't pretty.
Stop turning.
People was being slaughtered. People was being murdered. I mean,
stop turning that cheek.
Go back.
Stop turning that cheek. Stop doing what those slave masters was telling you to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause that's what's going on right now, bro. Straight up. I'm gonna keep it mad funky with people. Like, stop listening to what the slave masters told you to do, man, because that's what's going on, man. That whole turn the other cheek concept is bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I so don't agree with that. Like, turn the other cheek. So if you're doing things to harm my family, or you're doing things to take food out of my family's mouth, I'm supposed to turn the other cheek? I'm not turning shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you a threat, you a problem, and I need to handle you accordingly. Whether that's eliminating you altogether or doing something so that you are not able to harm my family. But as far as me turning the other cheek, that shit is crazy. That's like saying, all right, I'm gonna let you whoop my ass because it says in the book that I'm supposed to love people even though they beating on me. No, that shit is crazy. Like, think about it. Like, think about how crazy that sounds. You know what I'm saying?
Do you have a topic or story you'd like to discuss here on The Block? If so, shoot us an email at ontheblockandbeststar@gmail.com. Leave a message and we'll be happy to have you as a guest on our podcast.